Welcome to this explainer from SBW Financial Services. Have you ever really stopped to think if your thoughts, just your thoughts, could actually change your bank account? Well, today we're diving into that exact idea. We're looking at the introduction to a book that shaped generations of successful people, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Let's dig into how a simple shift in your mindset might just be the key to everything.
So the whole book, and I mean the entire thing, is built on this one kind of radical idea. And look, this isn't just about positive thinking. The argument here is that when you take your thoughts and you fuse them with a crystal clear purpose, a stubborn persistence, and this white-hot desire, they stop being just little impulses in your head. They become real, tangible forces. Forces that can quite literally build fortunes and change your world.
Okay, but how does that actually work, right? How does a thought turn into cold, hard cash? Well, let's break it down with the incredible true story of a guy named Edwin C. Barnes, who basically became the living, breathing proof of this very principle.
And this, right here, is the crucial first step. You see, Barnes didn't just kind of wish for success. He had this laser-focused, all-consuming goal. He was absolutely determined to work with the great inventor Thomas Edison, not just for him. That single, definite purpose, that was the engine for everything that came next.
But let's be really clear here. This was not a smooth ride. Not at all. Barnes was up against a wall of obstacles that would have made most people just turn right back around. I mean, he didn't know Edison from Adam. He was so broke he couldn't even afford a train ticket. And to top it all off, when he finally showed up, he looked more like a drifter than a future business partner.
But you know what? Edison saw past the shabby clothes. He saw something in Barnes's eyes, just unshakable determination. Edison said later that he learned from experience that when a person desires something so deeply that they're willing to bet their whole future on it, well, they are pretty much guaranteed to win.
So yeah, this partnership didn't happen overnight. Barnes played the long game. He took a really low-paying job, anything just to get his foot in the door. For months, all he did was his work, and he watched, and he waited, and he let that burning desire to partner with Edison just get stronger and stronger. And then, opportunity knocked. It came in the form of a new invention that, get this, pretty much everyone else was ignoring.
Barnes saw the huge potential in this new Edison dictating machine. He didn't just think he could sell it, he knew he could. And man, did he sell it. He sold it so successfully that Edison just handed him a contract to distribute it across the entire country. Their partnership thrived for over 30 years, making Barnes an incredibly rich man, and proving that core idea, a powerful thought, really can become a tangible thing.
So, Barnes' story, it's all about the power of sticking with it, right? But what happens when that persistence runs out? To really get this principle, we have to look at the flip side. A pretty tough cautionary tale about quitting just moments, literally moments, before a life-changing breakthrough.
3 feet. I want you to burn that number into your memory, because that's the exact distance that stood between a man named R.U. Darby and a fortune in gold so huge it would have completely rewritten his family's future.
So, back in the gold rush days, Darby and his uncle totally struck it rich. They found a vein of gold, and the first few cartloads proved they were sitting on one of the biggest finds in Colorado. But then, just as suddenly as it showed up, the vein of ore just vanished. They drilled a little deeper, found nothing, and they did what so many of us do when we face a setback. They quit.
Totally defeated. They sold all their equipment for a few $100 to a local junkman and went home. But this junkman, he had a different approach. Before just writing it off, he did the one thing the Darbys failed to do. He consulted an expert. A mining engineer came out, checked the site, and realized the gold hadn't disappeared at all. The Darbys had just hit a common geological fault line. The vein picked right back up just 3 feet from where they'd stopped drilling. The junkman took millions from that mine.
So let's just pause for a second and look at this. The contrast is just stark. On one side, you've got Barnes, who is all about, I will not leave until I get what I came for. On the other, the Darbys, whose thinking became, this is too hard, let's just quit. It's the difference between seeing a roadblock as a detour versus seeing it as a total dead end.
But here's the most important part of this story. Darby didn't let this massive failure crush him. Nope. Instead, he learned from it. He turned that million-dollar mistake into pure wisdom. And he did it thanks to a lesson he learned from a very, very surprising source.
So Darby was helping his uncle at an old mill when this young girl walks in. She was the daughter of a sharecropper, and her mom desperately needed 50 cents. She quietly asked for the money, but Darby's uncle, who was known for having a temper, just snapped at her to get out. The little girl just said yes, sir, but didn't move an inch.
He yelled at her again.
even threatened her. Still, she just stood there. Finally, the uncle, totally exasperated, grabs this big piece of wood and starts walking towards her. But just as he got close, the little girl looked him dead in the eye and just screamed with a raw primal desire that completely stopped this angry man dead in his tracks. The uncle dropped the wood, reached into his pocket, and gave her the 50 cents. And in that one instant, Darby got it. He saw the connection between the gold he'd given up on and this little girl's unstoppable desire. He made a vow right then and there. From that day forward, he would never, ever stop just because someone told him no.
So what are these stories, Barnes's incredible triumph and Darby's hard-won lesson, what do they both point to? Well, it's a single, fundamental truth about the power that's locked inside our own minds.
The book calls the state success consciousness. Think of it like this. If your brain is a radio, most people are just kind of tuned to a station of doubt and failure. Success consciousness is deliberately, consciously changing the frequency. You tune your mind so completely to the signal of your desire that it just starts to attract the people, the circumstances, the opportunities that are on that exact same wavelength.
The poet William Ernest Henley put it perfectly, and this quote explains why this is all possible. We are the masters of our fate, the captains of our souls, for one very simple reason. We have the power to control our thoughts. And if thoughts really are things, then controlling your thoughts means you control your destiny. It's that simple.
So, let's boil it all down. What are the key ingredients for turning a thought into a fortune? Well, according to this introduction, you need 4 things. First, a burning, all-consuming desire. Next, a definite, crystal-clear purpose. Then, unwavering persistence, especially when you hit what feels like defeat. And finally, a mind that is consciously tuned to success, not to failure.
So, as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with a question to really think about. A question that might be worth $1 million. When in your life have you stopped just 3 feet from gold? Think about your own goals, your own ambitions. Where might you be right now, on the verge of a breakthrough, tempted to quit? And what would happen if you just channeled the persistence of Edwin Barnes, or that little girl with the 50-cent mission, into what you're doing right now?
Well, we really hope this look into the first principles of Think and Grow Rich has given you some valuable food for thought. If you found this explainer useful, we'd really appreciate your support. Be sure to subscribe to SBW Financial Services for more insights designed to empower your financial journey. Thanks so much for joining us.